Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler, and again, thanks for joining us wherever you are. We appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button and share the show. There is a new drama series debuting on Netflix on September 4th called Away, and it's all about the first international mission to send humans to Mars. And joining us now, we have an actor who portrays one of those said astronauts, Ato Essandoh. Ato, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. I got to say, this series is right up my alley just to begin with, but I want to talk to you about this. And, you know, this journey to Mars that you and your other actors are taking, your other astronauts in this movie are taking, takes about 3 years. And I'm wondering for you as an actor, what does it take to get into the mindset of something like that, of being that isolated for that long?
Well, I thought I knew prior to COVID, right? But now I know because what you have to do is you have to give up the things that you're used to. And I'm experiencing right now not being able to sort of get on a plane and go see my parents in Ghana right now because they might as well be on Mars or they might as well be on Earth while I'm on Mars. So that isolated feeling that I thought that I could bring to the role, I now have way more sort of information on what that looks like.
That's an interesting viewpoint on that. Yeah, you're right. I guess we have all kind of been isolated to that extent.
Yeah.
When you're filming, when you're filming something like this, too, one of the big things is, of course, you know, you're in space. There's the issues of gravity, and I just wonder, from a technical standpoint, what do you do to try to replicate that feeling?
Yeah, you know, that's one of the things that drew me to the show, that we're actually going to try to get the physics right. And essentially what everybody has seen in their in high school when you watched Peter Pan, and Peter Pan is flying around, he's basically being suspended by wires. And that's what we did on our show. We had to show up about 2 weeks prior to shooting to get in shape for being hauled up and down on wires. And that was a lot of hard work. I think that we're all sort of ready for our Cirque du Soleil performances if we need that. But it takes a lot of core work because, you know, imagine we're trying to simulate zero gravity. So sometimes we're just hanging like this, suspended from our hips, but we have to also sort of deliver the lines as if we're not straining to within an inch of our life. So that was a lot of fun just to try to pull off. And seeing the show, I think we did a really good job at doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the other things too that I know with this show, you mentioned, you know, getting the physics right. I know that as part of the production, at least you worked with some actual astronauts to try to talk about what it would really be like in space. And maybe I was wondering if you could talk to us a little bit about what maybe some of the biggest lessons you learned were from working with them.
Sure. We got to work with Mike Massimino, who's just a star in himself. I mean, he came up to set once or twice, excuse me, and his insight was brilliant because I used to want to be an astronaut when I was a kid, and obviously I'm seeing people sort of floating around in space like superheroes, and that's the appeal. But he said, don't get it twisted. Even in zero gravity, especially in zero gravity, everything is hard. Everything you do is hard. You have to relearn how to do everything. And so he said, keep that in mind, even though you're being suspended by wires, all of this stuff, just going across the room is a hard thing because if you push off too hard, you're going to go flying, you know? So that kind of insight gave me, you know, made me glad that I'm not actually an astronaut, even though I have fantasies of being on Mars. That stuff is hard, man. It's really hard.
Well, I was going to say, you know, talking about that and going into space, do you have any desire to go to space yourself?
Yeah, I mean, prior to this, I said, yeah, I could pull off 3 years and go to Mars because how incredible that would be. I don't think I could do 3 years, but I could definitely do a weekend on the moon. Like if we get to that level of technology where it can be like a first class trip and you get a mimosa on the way, and then you bring some beers and your boys and you hang out on the moon for like, yeah, a weekend with some beers and then you fly right back. I'm totally in on that. But anything else? No way, man. No way.
I like the idea of beers on the moon. I'm totally in with that too. That sounds great. Well, for you two and for this series, I want to remind everybody, you know, coming out September 4th is when everybody can watch it. What would you like people to take away from this series?
Well, I think inadvertently we've created a series that shows how important teamwork is in a diversity of ideas, in a diversity of disciplines. That's what you need to sort of excuse me, overcome any human endeavor. And I think this show sort of illustrates what we need right now to battle COVID, to battle racism, to battle all the systemic stuff that we've got going right now. We need leadership, and we need teamwork, and we need a diversity of ideas. So I think that's what we've done with this show.
That's perfectly representative of that. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely diverse cast, everything that goes along with it. And I've watched part of it myself. It's fantastic. And Otto, I want to say thank you very much, for joining us here to talk about this. Really, really appreciate it. You take some time, and congratulations on this new show.
Yeah, thank you. I'm a big fan of Digital Trends, so thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.